So today we will continue with the second class. We'll finish with this class. So Doppler. Last class we finished 2D echo and how to optimize the 2D echo images. Today we'll discuss about Doppler and how to optimize the Doppler images. So Doppler, mainly there are 6 types. That is pulse wave Doppler, continuous wave Doppler. We have the color Doppler, then power Doppler, which we'll discuss, power Doppler, tissue Doppler, then duplex scanning. So this is how our echo machine shows when we do a Doppler. So all the frequency, this is the DDP which we had discussed last class, power, frame per second, depth, everything will be shown here. And once we put the Doppler, then we will see the Doppler settings here. That is the scale of the Doppler. Then whether there is any LV rejection we will discuss. Then frequency, then SV is the sample volume that typically we have to keep between 2 to 4 mm. So here it's kept at 4.5. These are the soft menu settings, that is quick angle correction. Quickly whether we can change the angle correction. Typically we have to keep it parallel. So quickly then compression and rejection settings also we have seen. Similarly some soft menu settings we will have. So we can control the sweep. All these factors we are coming next. So this is how the Doppler screen looks like, and we will see the spectral Doppler image here and the sample value we put here. So history of Doppler, it was initially described by Christian Doppler. So the name comes from the name of the person who discovered and described the Doppler effect. So it came in 1842, and it is based on the principle of Doppler effect. So what is Doppler effect? So Doppler effect is, so this is the transducer probe, and F0 is a frequency which we send in, and Fr is the frequency which we receive. So, and this is a RBC. So before this, let me tell, like 2D echo is generally we look at the anatomy of this thing, whereas Doppler is the one where we look at the physiological function.
Discover this.
Ambulance movie.
This is 1840.
1840. Train.
Train on 1840 train. It is actually movement of the stars.
Stars.
The brightness that is the basis on which this is what I remember.
Yes, sir.
And 1842.
He applied that on sound.
And he said that this he applied on everything. It is sound Doppler effect of but original description of Doppler is basically on the thing. As if something comes closer to the brightness increases. And as it passes, it decreases. But that is basically because of the intensity of the light beam increases. Idilipum sound waves in the Doppler basically described with sound.
Yes.
That's the easiest example you can give for a Doppler effect. When you are standing, as the train comes towards you, the sound increases,
the frequency,
and as it goes away, the phase. The original description, if I remember, is on light. Light in the
light. So this is the Doppler effect. So with Doppler we get the physiology of the cardiac system. That is, we get to estimate the velocity with the Doppler effect. So this is the frequency which we send in, and the small bars denotes the frequency. We can see that it is separated by certain space, and this RBCs are coming towards the probe. So when they are coming towards the probe, the frequency which we have sent in strikes the RBCs, and when it gets reflected back, so this is the reflected frequency. We can see that these waves are coming more closer together. So the reflected frequency is having a higher frequency compared to what we send in. So if it is coming near you, the reflected frequency will be higher, and these RBCs are going away. So because it's going away, it will have a lower frequency. That is, so the change in frequency when it strikes a moving object is called that's the Doppler shift. That is, shift is the shift in the frequency compared to what we sent. So we'll explain more. So this video, this
അതിൽ വേറൊരു കാര്യമാണ്, the send frequency is always constant.
constant, yes.
See, the send frequency, അത് വിടുന്ന frequency constant ആണ്. The returning frequency is the one which
Changes. That changes based on the velocity of that object.
So whenever there is another which, actually, if it is going and striking an object and coming back, ആ ഒബ്ജക്റ്റിന്റെ ഇതനുസരിച്ചാണ് തിരിച്ചു വരുന്നതിന്റെ ഫ്രീക്വൻസി മാറുന്നത്. The property of the object with which it strikes.
Moving. Actually,
if it's an inert thing, actually the returning frequency should also be the same. It is the differences in the tissues which change the frequency.
So based on the change in frequency, we can determine the velocity at which that object is moving towards us or moving away from us. So that is the principle of Doppler and how we estimate the velocity.
As it moves away, the frequency becomes lower.
Lower. The reflected wave will have a lower frequency. If it is coming towards, the reflected wave will have a higher frequency. So in this video, I'll just show an example. It's an audio file. So this, an ambulance is coming and we are standing, an ambulance is coming and passing. So we'll get to know the Doppler shift. It's nearing. So when it neared us, you can see the change in frequency, and it's going away, so that it's coming back to that point. So when it neared us, it was having a higher frequency. So that is the Doppler shift. So this is another example to show the Doppler shift. So this is the transducer beam. We are sending in a sound wave, ultrasound wave, and it gets reflected back. So there is an angle that is formed. So typically we have to keep it as parallel as possible with the area of interest. That is, the RBC should come towards the probe. Then we will get the best vicinity. The angle should not be more than 20 degrees. In cardiac structures, typically it should kept at 0 degrees typically. So that change in frequency is called the Doppler shift. So if it's having an increased frequency, that's called the upward shift, and if it's decreased, it's called a downward shift. So primary job of Doppler is to measure the Doppler shift, and from this the velocity can be estimated. So what are the factors that will affect this Doppler estimation? So the angle, keep it parallel as possible, up to 20 degrees acceptable, and when we are doing, we should lower the frequency as lower as possible when we are doing a Doppler. So this is the main difference which I told regarding 2D imaging as well as the Doppler. And 2D is anatomical, whereas this is physiological. In 2D we have to keep it perpendicular as much as possible, whereas in Doppler keep it as parallel as possible. And the transducer frequency should be as low when we are doing a Doppler. But when we are doing a 2D image, the higher the frequency, the more better the resolution we get. But we have to compromise on the depth, as we told earlier. So whenever we are doing Doppler, when switching from 2D to Doppler, try to reduce the frequency. So coming to the difference between pulse wave and the continuous wave Doppler. So in pulse wave Doppler, it's like we have to keep a sample volume at a particular point, and the velocity at that particular point only can be determined with a pulse wave Doppler. So there is a limitation to the speed. The maximum speed which we can attain with the pulse is 1.7 meters per second. So it uses only one crystal. That is, only one crystal will be sending the signal, and the same crystal only will be receiving back the signal. So it's like aiming with a gun, pointing and then shooting, and after shooting you will get a reflected frequency, and from that you can determine the velocity. But continuous wave is like it uses two crystals, that is we keep a line and all the velocities of any structure that is falling in that particular line, all these velocities will be picked up. So that it uses two crystals, that is one crystal will be continuously sending the signals and another crystal will be simultaneously receiving all this shift in the Doppler frequencies. So that is like shooting the machine gun continuously and you get back the thing. So that is the main difference between pulse wave and continuous wave. So pulse wave has a speed limit and continuous it will pick up any velocities. Typically a mitral and all we can put for my pulse. Continuous aortic and all may tend to go for higher velocity. Aortic stenosis will go for a higher velocity. So how does this the received pulse Doppler image we represent on the graph? So that is called as a spectral Doppler. So on the x-axis is the time and on the y-axis we get the frequency shift. It's not the frequency but the shift in the frequency is what that will be plotted as minute, these grayscale images will be plotted as frequency shift. So any shift that occur towards the probe will be plotted above and that goes above will be plotted below, and the amplitude, so the frequency shift, the higher the frequency shift that will be represented by different shades of gray. So that is how, and typically you get a spectral window at the center, so that if the flow is very not turbulent, you will get a good spectral window. That we are coming with a better pictures. So and we get the velocity on the x-axis and we can determine the velocity. So when there is a good spectral window, that is if the central area, triangular area of black, it denotes a laminar flow, that is it is not a turbulent flow. So this is a image of pulse Doppler and this is how a continuous wave Doppler looks like. So the spectral display and its components will again, so that will represent the Doppler shift on this. So this is called the spectral envelope. So it's like the snow on a mountain, snow covering a mountain, and this will be the mountain in the center. So the central portion is the spectral window and this width is the spectral width, and this is in systole and this is in early diastole and this is in late diastole. And this is the peak systolic velocity and this is the end diastolic velocity. So now coming to based on that, just to explain about laminar versus turbulent flow, how does it be shown on the spectral. So if the flow is laminar, the tip of this thing will have the highest velocity and the edge will have the zeroing velocity. Whereas if it's turbulent, and we will have a spectral window typical. Whereas if it's turbulent, there will not be any point of high velocity or low velocity like that. So in spectral window indicates a laminar flow, and spectral broadening, that is if it broadens up then it indicates a turbulent flow. And the spectral broadening can also occur due to incorrect angle, that is if it's not kept very parallel, or if there is any false high velocity also, the spectral broadening can happen. So this is how spectral broadening occurs. Another thing, laminar flow, we have a low velocity narrow envelope. This envelope will be very narrow, whereas when that envelope becomes broad, like spectral window is being occupied, that is the snow is eating the mountain. There is no mountain, no window, it's full of snow like. So that is how turbulent flow occurs. So same picture showing. So just to show a picture, this was there in Fegan now, just to show the various flow patterns, that is flat profile, laminar flow I told will have a higher velocity and a lower. Then there is a parabolic profile, curved profile, then arch profile, typically is in the aortic arch, then branch profile. All these are various profile of various flow patterns. I will start with optimization of Doppler images. So first is the pulse repetition frequency. Typically for pulse wave Doppler, pulse repetition frequency is the time in 1 second how many pulses we are sending. So there can be low pulse repetition frequency or high pulse repetition frequency. So it's the number of pulses transmitted from the transmitter per second, and it is typically it should be kept at twice the frequency. So to accurately represent a given frequency, it must be sampled at at least twice the frequency. Only then we can sample it. So based on this comes the concept of aliasing, which we'll discuss in the next this thing. So aliasing is the sampling becomes inadequate because based on the pulse frequency if it's kept very low. So it's like frequency shift is too fast for the rate of sampling. And Nyquist limit is the upper limit of frequency that can be detected by the pulse system. It is actually half the pulse repetition frequency. So this is an example to show the aliasing. So in this picture we have various waves. So this straight curve is the normal frequency which we send in, and the dotted line is the sampling. So in this we can see there is one wave. This is the second wave, this is the third wave, and this is the fourth wave. So in this, for this first wave, it is being sampled 1, 2, 3, 4. At 4 places it is being sampled. So there is no aliasing occurring. So similarly, here also there are 5 waves. It is there is no aliasing. But here, when the sampling rate is coming further less, for one wave we are sampling only once. So at that point we are having the issue of aliasing. So aliasing occurs when the frequency is more than the Nyquist limit. So another picture just to show how aliasing this thing. Suppose we imagine a tire spinning.
We can do it. Nyquist limit is half PRO, or it is twice the
frequency. Pulse PRF is twice the frequency.
PRF should be twice the
minimum. It should be.
Nyquist limit alla. Nyquist limit is upper limit of frequency that can be detected by that is half the PRF. അതായത് ഇപ്പം നമ്പർ ഓഫ് പൾസസ് 2ആണെങ്കിൽ PRF ശരിക്കും 4 വേണം. ഈ 4 എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് അപ്പം ആ 4ൽ നിന്ന് കുറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ Nyquist ലിമിറ്റ് ക്രോസ് ചെയ്യും അല്ലേ?
So suppose we have a spinning tire and this is spinning in the clockwise direction, and we are sampling only at this point. Then these two areas we are not sampling. At this point we are sampling. So on this thing, even though it's spinning clockwise, if we look at this, it looks like it is spinning anti-clockwise. So that is just one more picture just to explain this thing. So another is velocity scale. So this pulse repetition.
വന്നാലുള്ള പ്രോബ്ലം എന്താണ്?
അതില് കാണാൻ പറ്റില്ല.
അല്ല, ആ ഇമേജസ്
blurred ആവും.
Images
peak velocity will not be
sharper images. You have to avoid areas.
Yes.
That means you have to adjust the frequency to get the optimum pictures.
So now once we get the aliasing, there are two methods by which we can eliminate. That is adjusting the velocity, or the other is adjusting the baseline.
How do you recognize aliasing?
That's a tip കാണത്തില്ല peak.
അങ്ങനെ മാത്രമല്ല, ട്രേസിംഗ് മാത്രമല്ല, മേലോട്ടും താഴോട്ടും വരും. ആ ലൈനിന്റെ യു ഹാവ് എ ലൈൻ, സോ യു ഗെറ്റ് ഇമേജസ് അബവ് ആൻഡ് ബിലോ. മനസ്സിലായി? ഒരു പടം വരച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ മേളിലേക്ക് സ്പെക്ട്രൽ ഡിസ്പ്ലേ വരും, താഴേക്കും വരും. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ഹൗ യു ഐഡന്റിഫൈ ദാറ്റ് aliasing has taken place. ഇതാണ് ഞാൻ നോക്കിയിട്ടുള്ളത്. ഇപ്പോൾ ഞാനത് This is how I identify. Suppose you want to ഒരു ഒറ്റ ഡയറക്ഷനിൽ നമുക്ക് വേണം, ആ ഭാഗത്തേക്ക് മാത്രമേ നമുക്ക് സ്പെക്ട്രൽ ഡിസ്പ്ലേ വരാൻ പാടുള്ളൂ. ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ, യു ആർ ലുക്കിംഗ് അറ്റ് mitral regurgitation. You need a spectral display when you have put it at the LA. You want this thing to come. അതേ സമയത്ത് മേളിലേക്കും വരികയാണെങ്കിൽ then that means that aliasing has taken place and that image is also got blurred. That's one way of looking at aliasing.
എന്നുവെച്ചാൽ താഴത്തെ ടിപ്പ് കാണാത്ത സാധനം മേളിൽ കാണും.
അതായത് റെവർബറേഷൻ ശരിക്കും ഇതും ശരിക്കും ഒരിടത്തേക്ക് മാത്രമേ വരാൻ പാടുള്ളൂ.
ഇവിടുന്ന് കുഴിഞ്ഞു പോയ സാധനം മേളിൽ വരുന്നു,
വരാൻ പാടില്ല.
So velocity scale. So in the echo machine, this pulse repetition frequency is represented by the velocity scale. When we adjust the velocity scale, that will change the pulse repetition frequency. So this is an example of aliasing. Here we can see that beyond this, it is coming here. Aliasing. So
normally you should not get any this thing because the flow is towards. Echo that's how you identify that the aliasing has taken place.
So when there
is you adjust the velocity, you find that the things become sharper.
Yes. So this is aliasing, and here we are adjusting the velocity scale. So here we can see that the velocity difference is 20-40, difference of 20 up to 80 is shown. So here we are increasing the scale to minus 120. So that is lifting the that is changing that aliasing, and we are able to see the. So from this we can estimate the velocity. So that is one method to remove the aliasing. The other method is to change the baseline. So here also we are seeing aliasing. Beyond this, it is coming here. So this line, this baseline, we are lifting it up. So when the baseline is lifted up, we are able to see the physics. So these are the two methods by which we can change the aliasing. Next is sweep speed in Doppler. So sweep speed is just like the ECG speed. Like for ECG we keep it 25 mm. So by default is 100 mm per second. So based on the heart rate we can adjust the sweep speed. So it's like higher the sweep speed, there is less number of the complexes. So here the sweep speed is kept at 100 mm per second. So there is only 3 complexes here, whereas here the sweep speed is 25 mm per second. We are getting more complexes, more spectral complexes we are able to see. So that is the advantage of adjusting the sweep speed.
To get a clearer image, you need to increase the
sweep speed. Less complex. One or two complex. So that is sweep speed. Next is the sample volume size, or otherwise called as a sample gate. That is a small marker which we put. So when we put that this line we put is called the line of insonation, and this is the sample volume, and that this thing is the angle correction we can give with the sample volume. So this sample volume should be typically 2 to 4 mm. So how does sample volume affect your Doppler signal is, larger the sample gate, more velocities will be included, and it will affect the resolution of the Doppler waveform. So you typically keep it as low as possible, and more than 4 mm if you keep the sample volume, it will create more noise. So typical range is 2 to 4 mm sample. So here we'll see 2 examples where sample volume is kept at 20 mm. Here we can see there is more noise because of a large sample volume. You can see the distance is very high, whereas in this it is kept at 3.5 mm. So there is less noise. So that is how sample volume affects your spectral image. Next is the Doppler angle and the angle correction we have to give. Suppose we are not able to get keep it as parallel, then with the echo itself we can give a slight angle correction also. So in cardiac it is generally it is assumed to be at 0 degrees. That is, we position the 2D and keep it as parallel, and then we keep it 0. Generally no correction needed, and up to 20 degrees acceptable. Whereas for vascular and all, correction needed. The closer the corrected angle is to 0, the more accurate the velocity result. And if it is more than 60, the velocity determination will be inaccurate. This is when we are considering the vascular. Optimum it is less than 60, whereas cardiac it is 20. It should be kept less than 20 degrees for cardiac. So now coming to the wall filters. So wall filters are we call them as high pass filters. That is, high means it filters out the higher frequencies to this thing. So in the spectral Doppler. So this is where we see the wall filter. That is, the low unwanted frequencies will be filtered out, and if we increase the filter, there will be a small black gap between the baseline and this thing. So we'll see in the next picture. So due to large dynamic range of returning Doppler signal, there is a need to reduce the amplitude of clutter signal, which reduces the required dynamic range. So wall filters are filters designed to reduce the signal based on the frequency shift. So filter signals with lower frequency shift. So here we can see that if the wall filter is kept too low, that is 175 Hertz, there is lot of noise around the baseline. Whereas here the wall filter is optimized at 200 Hertz. Here we can see a gap, that is that filtered black, so that is adequately filtered. And here wall filter is too high, that is it is eating up most of the waveform. So this is the optimal in this scenario. Typically this low frequency signal we can cut it off, high frequency signals we can filter it off. That is the purpose of the wall filter. Now coming to Doppler gain, that is 2D echo we have a gain, Doppler also we have a gain, color also we have separate gain. So there is separate gain for each. So Doppler gain is the post-process amplification of these return echoes. So too much gain, if you increase the gain too much, will cause overestimation of Doppler signal and cause a degree of spectral broadening. So optimal setting is we have to target a smooth velocity curve. So based on that, if the curve is smooth, based on that you keep the optimal gain. So this gain same button is the one we use. The around we can when we put on Doppler, when we return that it will change the Doppler gain, not the 2D gain. And when we put color, it will change the color gain actually. So here we can see that the gain is too low. There is inadequate getting waves, whereas gain is optimized, we are getting good amount of spectra, and here gain is too high, it's too much of a signal. So when we get a smooth curve, that is the optimal gain with the spectral Doppler. So that all these are the settings we can optimize for a Doppler signal. Now coming to color Doppler. So color Doppler is also a form of pulse wave Doppler, and based on this frequency shift, it will assign certain colors to each of these fish, and based on that we get the based on that velocity, it will be color coded, and that is how we get a color Doppler. So this is a picture of the echo screen of the color Doppler. So typically it is 2D echo on which the color Doppler is superimposed. So when we are doing color Doppler in this area, we will have based from that menu rocker, we can change. There will be a setting for the 2D Doppler when we are doing that 2D Doppler frequency. All the settings also we can change, and if with the menu rocker we can also adjust the color Doppler settings also. So all these settings that it will change. Another set of settings will come. So optimizing the color Doppler, first is 2D the sector size. So it should be kept as small as possible, and because lower the sector size, it will give high frame rate and good resolution. So sector size, this is the sector size which I told, and this is the region of interest or the color box. So this sector size we should keep it as low as possible and then put the color Doppler. So that will give higher frame rate. So this is actually showing the example of the color box, and this will come next. So this is the video showing the sector size and its influence on the color Doppler signal. So here the first is a high sector, this is a small sector. So that will affect the color Doppler signal. So next is the color box size or the region of interest, ROI. So this is the color box. This is the color box. The same picture was shown earlier. So this is having a bigger color box. So you try to keep it as small as possible. A narrow color box result in this is having a good frame rate of 35, whereas here the frame rate is only 14. So next is the overall gain, or otherwise called as the 2D gain when we are putting a color Doppler. So typically when we are switching from a 2D Doppler to a color Doppler, the B mode, the 2D mode gain should be kept as low as possible before switching to the color. Why? Because when we put the color will be allotted to the darker areas preferentially by the echo machine. So the 2D gain we should keep it low and keep the image a little dark initially. Then when we put the color Doppler, that will help in allocation of the color Doppler signals better to the darker areas. So the B mode gain should be reduced. Then when we put the color Doppler, we can slowly adjust the color gain also with the same button. So in this, the overall gain denotes the 2D gain. The overall gain is too high, and here the overall gain is optimal. So showing a video picture. Now next is the color gain. So the first we talked about the 2D gain. This is the color gain, otherwise called the active gain. That is, color Doppler is active in that more particular mode. So that is why we call the active gain. So here the color Doppler gain is kept at 17, where here it is kept at 9.5. So we'll see the video. So that is the difference that was with the color gain. So here the color gain is too high. Now coming to the color maps. So color maps, we have typically the red and blue and the shades of that, but there are other colors also which we can use. So that based on our preference, different color maps either situation la use cheyyunnu arilla, but we can change that color maps also. There is an option to change the color maps also. So this is a two image showing with the different color maps. This is the normal which we use, and this is a different color.
Color frequency change
ചില സ്മൈൽഡ് റീവെജിറ്റേഷൻ ചിലപ്പോൾ മാപ്പ് ചേഞ്ച് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ചാൻസ് ഉണ്ട്. പിന്നെ ചിലർക്ക് ഈ
പാറ്റേൺ ഓഫ് ദ കളർ ചേഞ്ച് ഡാർക്ക് ബ്ലൂവിൽ നിന്ന് ഇറ്റ് ഹസ് ബിക്കം മൊസൈക്ക് പാറ്റേൺ രീതിയിൽ മാറുന്നുണ്ട്. റെഡ് അതിൽ കണ്ടാലും അറിയാം.
അത് ഇനി സാർ ഇനി
ആ കളർ മാപ്പ് ചേഞ്ച് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ മേളത്തെ
ഇത് മാറും. ഇതില് ഇൻ ദിസ് ഈ ലെഫ്റ്റില് കാണുന്നത് ബി മോഡിന്റെ ഗ്രേ സ്കെയിൽ ആണ്. ദ റൈറ്റ് സൈഡ് ഇസ് ദാറ്റ് കളർ അത് ഇതിലും മാറും. അതില് പിന്നെ സാറേ ഈ ചെറിയ ഒരു ഗ്രീൻ
പ്രിൻസിപ്പിൾ ഇൻ ദിസ് കളർ ഡോപ്ലർ
towards the trans to the red color, and if it is away from the trans to the blue.
പിന്നെ സാറേ ഈ ചിലർക്ക് ഈ കളർ വിഷൻ അബ്നോർമാലിറ്റി ഉള്ളവർക്കായിരിക്കും ചിലപ്പോ അവർക്ക് ചിലപ്പോൾ വേറെ മാപ്പ് ഇടേണ്ടി വരും. Next is coming to aliasing. So we have discussed about the Doppler aliasing. So there is a issue with the color aliasing also. So for color Doppler, so there are two ways to remove the color aliasing. Same velocity scale as well as change the baseline. So what is color aliasing? So this is an example of color aliasing. That is, there is no regurgitation, but there is a color this thing. It is going away from the probe, but still this is the arch of iota. It's going down, but still there is a aliasing here. So this is how we identify. Here there is no aliasing. So this aliasing we have to remove. So how do we remove it? Is example showing a color aliasing. Here there is color aliasing. Here there is no color aliasing. So we can change it by changing the scale, the velocity scale. So these are three examples. This is with the low scale, this is with high scale, and this is optimum. Same equation. So color aliasing, first is we can change the aliasing with the scale. This next is with the baseline. So color baseline, how do we change this? This is how, when we change the color baseline, this blue will go up or the red will come down. So that is how we change. So this is the button which comes here. So based on that, there will be a thing to change the color baseline. So here showing color aliasing, and here we have adjusted the baseline. We have brought down the this thing below. Compared to this, we have brought it down, and now the aliasing is gone. So that is how we detect color aliasing, and two methods to remove the color aliasing. Next is burst length. This is of importance during contrast echo. That is, a burst of high intensity signals will be given. So the duration for which this burst signal will be sent is the burst length. This I have not gone into detail, but typically for contrast echo and all it is used. Next is variance. Variance is another option which we see. Not understood this concept exactly, but it is like the frequency spreads based on that. It is if we put the variance, it will detect flow disturbance, it seems. So variance, a mathematical collection based on the variation in frequency around a എനിക്ക്
പണ്ട് ഫിസിക്സിന് മോശമാണ് എനിക്ക്
around a calculated mean to reflect the degree of disturbance of blood flow. So variance generally we can understand that it will affect the flow disturbance if we put variance. So actually this variance, if there is variance, it will, other than the red, blue and this, some faint green like signal will come. So that is adana variance now, experimentally produced variance image. Adidumbo, when we turn that on, this thing will disappear on our slides. So the why variance occurs is in color flow. This color flow is obtained by a little complex procedure. That is, it is not direct the frequency, but some compromise that is made by the machine to maintain this color Doppler. So അതിന്റെ ഫ്രീക്വൻസി സ്പ്രെഡിന്റെ എന്താ വേരിയൻസ് ആണ് കാരണമാണ് ഇത് വരുന്നതെന്നാണ് പറയുന്നത്. ഇത് ഫിഗംബോമിലുള്ള ഇത് കളർ ഫ്ലോ. So variance, we have a button. So this is that button which we see, and when we put it, it will light green and all. So if variance is turned on, there is another button simultaneous that will turn off. That intermediate, on on cheyidengil idu off avum angane endha. Simultaneous endana pidiyitilla, nokkittum kittilla. Now we will come to tissue Doppler imaging. Doppler tissue, it is otherwise called as Doppler tissue imaging, tissue velocity imaging, or tissue velocity echo. So all these are synonyms for Doppler imaging. So this is the typical Doppler image which we will get. So in tissue Doppler imaging, the target is the tissue. Unlike for RBC, that is, the tissue will have a greater reflectivity and a slow motion. So the tissue will also reflect the sound and it will have a frequency shift. So based on that, we get the tissue Doppler signals. So there are various tissue Doppler modes, that is pulse wave Doppler, color 2D and color M tissue Doppler images. So we have to know the waveforms in tissue Doppler imaging. So S dash is the peak systolic annular velocity. So this is like tissue Doppler imaging. We know that we'll keep the marker at the annulus, mitral valve annulus, and then we'll estimate the velocity at which this tissue is moving. So that will be the tissue movement is represented by the graph, and this is the spectral image. So this is the systolic movement of that annulus. So this is the peak systolic annular velocity, and in diastole we have a early rapid filling, and this is the atrial systole corresponding to early rapid filling and corresponding to atrial systole. So the early rapid filling, E prime is the annular velocity in early rapid, and A prime is the atrial systole annular velocity. So E stands for the early and A stands for the atrial systole. So diastolic events are denoted by the small letters with the prime. So that those are the waveforms in a tissue Doppler imaging. So more details of the tissue Doppler imaging. We have the isovolumetric contraction time. All these can be determined from the tissue Doppler imaging. We have S1, S2, isovolumetric relaxation time. S1 and S2 is not the heart sounds, but it is the peak systolic velocity. So in this case, there are two peak systolic velocities. This is the peak systolic velocity. Another systolic velocity is also coming in this case, and this is the diastolic event. This is the early rapid filling. When the early rapid filling occurs, the tissue velocity is the E. This is the E prime, small E prime actually it is. This is the A prime when during the atrial contraction. So this picture, you have the basics about tissue Doppler imaging. So now we'll come. So that is the tissue Doppler imaging, and now we'll come to power Doppler, or otherwise called as
values on the lateral and medial.
So lateral and medial silent.
It is actually minus 10 and minus
10 centimeter per second. And 7 centimeter per second.
No.
In constitutive pericarditis and fibrosis.
7 and 10. 7 for medial, 10 for lateral.
നമ്മൾ പക്ഷെ ഇവിടെ 10 സെന്റിമീറ്റർ അല്ല, ഇവിടെ 0.01 0.07 ഡിവൈഡഡ് ബൈ
So next is the power Doppler, or otherwise called as the color power Doppler, CPD. So in power Doppler, it will detect only the flow. It will not detect the direction at which it is flowing. So, but it is more sensitive to detect the flow. So this is used in scenario of very low flow situation, whether we want to see whether there is any flow or not. So an example is in testicular torsion and all, where we use the power Doppler. Whether it's helpful in myocardial ischemia, I'm not sure. So because if that is the principle, myocardium also we can detect flow very not used. So this is how the power Doppler image looks like. That is, it will detect very small flow, but the direction we cannot estimate. So in testicular torsion, we can use power Doppler just to look for viability, myocardial viability. So next is the M mode. M mode, the ultrasound is transmitted and received along one scan line, and the cursor should be aligned perpendicular to the line of interest, and the advantage is there is very high temporal resolution. The resolution is very good, compared even more better than a 2D. So in M mode, the settings which we can keep is sweep speed. One is sweep speed. So here, if the similar to that other VS tone, if there is sweep speed is kept low, we get more number of complexes, whereas if sweep speed is kept 50, we get less number of complexes. And the other is color M mode. In color M mode, we can time the M mode with the events. That this shows an image color M mode with the mitral stenosis, and each event we can identify with color M mode. And another option with M mode is the steer. That is, if we are not able to keep it parallel or something, there is a button called steer which we can steer this beam like driving a car. So this is the steer, beam steering. So with that M mode also we can utilize this steer function. Next is the DDP, or the data dependent processing. It is denoted on this thing by this proc. Actually this value is not of much importance for us. It removes the noise, performs temporal processing which reduces the random noise, and it will display an index number here to indicate the relative DDP level. I don't know whether this is of any value for us. This processing in the so next is reverberation. That is, in our machine, it's denoted by the difference on or off. So if we turn it on, reverberation, we can turn the reverberation. So what is reverberation? So reverberation, when we are sending an ultrasound signal, typically we are aiming that it targets the heart and come back. But if there are any dense tissues lying intermediate between the heart and the probe, then this ultrasound will hit on them and it will reflect back. Like in this case, we are sending the signal, there is a dense layer and heart is still below, so it is hitting here and it is reverberating there itself. So that is creating more noise. So that is what is we call as a reverberation artifact.
Amplifiers like echo part recording, echo putty with your bass putty principle. That is what I understand.
Yes. Echo
increase echo, the effect is different.
Yes.
In the sound wave. The voice can be changed or the effect can be changed. Same thing on reverberation.
Yes.
There are additional factors which affect the reflectance.
So we can turn that on. When we turn it on, all those noise artifact will be removed. But what the importance is, unnecessarily we should not turn it on. Why? Because if it is turned on, it can affect the frame rate and the focal zones also will get reduced. So if it is trained on, the frame rate will decrease and the focal zones also will be decreased. So we better turn it on only if we are finding any artifacts there. And other than that, we keep it off only. Reverberation. So let's say, sir. Next, sir, 4D echo. So we will revise this thing. So this is our echo machine, and we have all the probes. We have discussed all these things. Steer. Here comes the tissue Doppler imaging, continuous wave, pulse wave, color flow, M mode, B mode, Then here this trackball assignment and all, we can change the sector here, scan area, all these things. Then this is for the adjusting the depth, zoom and all. For the gain, adjusting the gain, decreasing and increasing the gain, and we can store it here. And here is the TGC, and all the other soft menu items we can control it with the menu select button here. So 2D echo, all these optimization we had gone through. Compression, rejection, dynamic range, DDP. DDP adjust ചെയ്യുന്നത് ഉണ്ട് സാർ ആക്ച്വലി, പക്ഷെ അതിന്റെ ഇതെന്താന്ന് അറിയില്ല. നോയ്സ് കുറയ്ക്കാന്നുള്ളതാണ്.
നമ്മൾ സാധാരണ
നോയ്സ് കുറയ്ക്കാം.
പ്രാക്ടിക്കൽ നോ, we don't really look at all these things. We simply adjust the depth and the gain and then get the best possible image. Actually these figures are given there. നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ അതിനൊന്നും അധികം സമയം കൊടുക്കാറില്ല. by experience we tend to get the optimum.
Yes.
Actually we are adjusting all this now.
Okay.
But our idea is to get the best possible image. So that usually happens with the experience. ഞാനതൊന്നും നോക്കാറൊന്നുമില്ല. നമ്മളിങ്ങനെ നോവെല്ലാം തിരിച്ച് you get a better image. But you should know what all this is.
What are the principle behind? Only then we get to know what to adjust. What to adjust. So power, typically you have to keep. So color, these are all the options we get in color. We have discussed all. Color and mode, pulse wave and continuous.
നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന കളർ മോഡ് ഏത് ഇക്വേഷനിലാണ്?
Sir, Doppler propagation velocity, minimum propagation velocity, in case of diastolic dysfunction.
കളർ മോഡ് diastolic dysfunction. What do you look at in the color Doppler and color mode?
So the propagation velocity is and if it is
അതെങ്ങനെ propagation velocity എവിടെ എങ്ങനെ this is not kept in the iota. വലിയ അയോട്ടയിലാണ് എടുത്തിരിക്കുന്നത്. ഇല്ല, ഇത് എല്ലാ അയോട്ട എടുത്തിരിക്കുന്നത്. നമുക്ക് മൈറ്ററിലാണ് വേണ്ടത്. മൈറ്റർ ലിഫ്റ്റിലായിട്ട് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നോക്കുന്നതാണ്. അതിലൊരു സ്ലോപ്പ് ഉണ്ട്.
ഇത് മൈറ്ററല്ല.
ആ സ്ലോപ്പിന്റെ ആംഗിൾ ഇതില്ല. ആ സ്ലോപ്പിന്റെ ആംഗിൾ അതെ, ആ സ്ലോപ്പ് അതല്ല, ആ ആംഗിളാണ് നോക്കുന്നത്. ഇപ്പൊ ഈ ഇതിൽ നിന്നില്ലേ ബി കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് ഈ സ്ലോപ്പാണ് നമ്മൾ നോക്കുന്നത്. വെദർ ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് ഷാർപ്പ് ഓർ സ്ലോപ്പിംഗ്. ആ സ്ലോപ്പ് വെലോസിറ്റി വെച്ചിട്ടാണ് അതിലൊരു കാൽക്കുലേഷൻ ഉണ്ട്.
വെലോസിറ്റിയിലാണ് ഈ വളം എമൗണ്ട് സ്റ്റീപ്പാണോ ഇങ്ങനെ
ചരിഞ്ഞാണെന്നുള്ള അത് നോക്കണം. അതൊന്നും നോക്കണം. സംതിങ് പീപ്പിൾ ആസ്ക് യു. ഇതിനകത്തില്ല,
ഒരു പടമില്ലേ?
ഇല്ലല്ലോ. മോഡലിന്റെ കളർ മോഡൽ മൈറ്റൽ ഫ്ലൂയിഡ് അത് ഏത് വ്യൂവിലാണെന്നല്ല, ഫോർത്ത് ചേമ്പറിലാണോ? അത് ഞാനത്
അതിന്റെ ആ സ്ലോപ്പ് ആയത് ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു ഫ്ലെയിം പോലെ ആയിരിക്കുന്നു. The flame is going towards the side. That means diastolic dysfunction. നേരെയാകുമ്പോൾ അത്ര റെസിസ്റ്റൻസ് more than 45 centimeter.
45 centimeter per second cut off.
അതാ സ്ലോപ്പിന്റെ ഏത് വ്യൂവിലാണ്.
Color, M mode, pulse wave and continuous wave, and assignable. Sir, finally connectivity. Sir. Connectivity is like now once you have attained the image, now we may need this image to transfer to a USB for other presentation, or we have to store it for a long time in any server or something. So In echo, our GE, they have the DICOM. DICOM stands for the Digital Imaging and Communication in Medicine. So it's a standard, and typically we have a data flow. That is, we call it like data flow. That is, the data which we have acquired, that we will make it flow and save it in various computer server like that. So based on how we set it, this image will flow, and it will be saved in various locations. So that is data flow. So this is an image setting showing the data flow in our Echo itself. If we go to that settings, we can assign where this recorded image should go actually. So typically, generally they have near the Echo machine they keep a computer, normal desktop computer, and they will install the software in that, and typically they call it as an EchoPack PC. That is, we call as a EchoPack PC. So once we acquire that image, it will be immediately simultaneously saved to the EchoPack PC, and from the EchoPack PC via net through the hospital network, we will have a PACS server in our hospital itself. So it will be transferred to the PACS.
Same for even CTL.
So this is the EchoPack PC. So we have our
digital acquisition.
So digital imaging and communications in medicine. So we have this all our medical images will be saved in this DICOM format. So there are various softwares called DICOM viewers to view this DICOM format itself. Because we need to scroll and each slice by slide
insist your listing should be in video, separate video format. Current DICOM
there we come the use of the MPEG view. So MPEG view is there within our Echo machine itself. There is a function by which we can convert this DICOM images into MP4 files, which we can play it in any computer. So we may have
TomTech is also incorporated into many of these things. TomTech 3D reconstruction ബാക്കിയുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ ഞാനിപ്പോൾ അതിനെപ്പറ്റി വായിച്ചിട്ടില്ല, but I have seen it. TomTech എന്നാണ് അതിൻ്റെ that you can say. ഈ ഓരോ വെണ്ടറിനും ഓരോ
ജിക്കാണെങ്കിൽ ഒരു പേരായിരിക്കും, ഫിലിപ്സിന് വേറൊരു പേരായിരിക്കും,
ഓരോരുത്തർക്ക് ഓരോ പേര്.
സാധനം ഏതാണ്ട് ഒന്നും
അത് വെണ്ടർ സ്പെസിഫിക്സ് എന്ന് പറയും.
But this DICOM is uniform among
throughout the world it is
same. So we may have a standalone desktop Echo machine like that, in which we are not saving it anywhere else, or we may have a EchoPack machine along with that, direct connection it will have. We have this EchoPack computer.
EchoPack പോലെ ഈ സെയിം കാറ്റലോഗിൽ നമ്മൾ ഇമേജ് വേറെ കമ്പ്യൂട്ടറിലേക്ക്
അകത്തിരിക്കുന്നത് EchoPack ആണ്. EchoPack. So നമ്മളെ EchoPackലാണ് നമ്മളിപ്പോ നോക്കുന്നത് രണ്ടാമത്തെ. Then this is the various another indirect method to transfer the EchoPack machine is, that is, PC will be sitting somewhere else, so we can transfer this thing to a magnetic optical disc, and through that we can transfer. Or we have a DICOM server. So DICOM server, this is how, that is, immediately we acquire any image, be it Echo, CT, MRI, immediately it will go to the DICOM server. So based on that, this tele-reporting and all, they can sit at their home and access these images, provided they have the access. And this is another thing we have to do. So the main central server in the hospital is called the PACS, otherwise called the Picture Archiving and Communication System. So that will integrate all these systems, that is, be it radiology, cardiology, ophthalm, dermat, any imaging things. So the hospital will acquire all these images from all departments, and it will save in a central system. So that is we call as the PACS server, central.
Okay.
Thanks.
നിങ്ങളെ മിക്കവാറും ലാസ്റ്റ് ഈവനിങ് ഓഗസ്റ്റ് ആയിരിക്കും പരീക്ഷ. ഓഗസ്റ്റ് 20 ലാസ്റ്റ് വീക്ക്